just a couple minutes after 10 o'clock, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We know that it's a busy day for everyone, and we've got storm coming and all sorts of things, so we want to be mindful of everybody's time. I'm Amber Storia. I'm the Executive Director with Mavericks Community Foundation, and we are very excited to have all of you with us today for Coastside Gives 2025. So we're going to just go over briefly a brief overview of what is going to be included in this meeting. This meeting is being recorded, and the slide deck will also, so the recording and the slide deck will be posted in the nonprofit toolkit at coastsidegives.org. So you're welcome to take notes or whatever you want to do throughout the meeting, but just know that these materials and the meeting recording will be available to you later today, and they'll remain on the website throughout the course of the campaign, so you can reference them or revisit them or share them with team members who weren't able to make it today. So we're going to go, through some of the basics, who we are and what we do. We're going to introduce you to the MCF team. What you need to do in terms of setting yourselves up for a successful Coastside Gives campaign. We're going to give recommendations of how you need to do that, and then we're going to let you know the timeline, the pertinent dates and deadline, the deadlines associated with the event this year. And of course, Gives Day is May 1st, and early giving will open on April 1st. So, who we are and what we do. So, Mavericks Community Foundation has been in existence since 2015. This is our board. We have our board president here with us today, Kelly Hoffman-Davis, there in the back. We also have our vice president with us, Mary Oldham. We have Mike Alifano with us, who's one of our board members. And then our other board members who couldn't be here with us today are Lisa Grissom, Diane Brosen, Carrie LaBelle, Leanne Phillips, and there's me, and we have Kurt Harris, who is our program coordinator, who most of you have probably been in contact with at this point, since you've gone through the registration process for Coastside Gives. Generally speaking, Kurt will be your primary contact for all things related Coastside Gives. So at any point throughout your campaign, if you have questions, things come up, you're unsure about something, you can always contact Kurt. So what's the Mavericks Community Foundation's role in Coastside Gives? Well, we organize and facilitate Coastside Gives. So what we do in order to make the day happen is we license the platform that we use for the nonprofits to utilize for donations for Coastside Gives. So that's Mighty Cause. It's the same platform we've used the last couple of years. If you've been with us previously, we're still using the Mighty Cause platform. If you're new to Coastside Gives this year, Mighty Cause is a pretty intuitive platform. It has a lot of capability for you to customize your profile to really help you tell your story to your donors throughout your Coastside Gives campaign. We do prize grants. So we secure funds from sponsors and private donors to provide prize grants for participating nonprofits. So we will get into prize grants a little bit further as we go through the campaign. The prize grant meeting will be on March 18th, which is an important date that you're going to want to mark your calendar for. That is a mandatory meeting, and we'll be talking all about the prize structure and sort of those incentive prize grants that you guys will have an opportunity to take advantage of during Coastside Gives. Promote. So we put the giving guide, which you guys are probably familiar with. We have some extra copies of last year's giving guide on the back table. Please feel free to take one if you want one or you need one. The giving guide is an awesome promotional piece. It gets mailed out to every household on the coastside. So it has a wide circulation, which is really amazing. And we get requests after Coastside Gives very regularly to find out if we have extra copies of the giving guide, because people often like to reference them year-round, right? So we publish them We mail them during Coastside Gives season, but the feedback we get is that a lot of donors, a lot of businesses like to have them available year-round because it really is a comprehensive guide about the nonprofits that are within our community. We also do yard signs, posters, advertising, radio advertising, a variety of things to promote Coastside Gives as a whole, the event as a whole, and promote the wonderful causes that you all are participating with. And we push, right? We support and coordinate the overall effort from start to finish. So you will receive information from us, as you already have, reminders about registering, reminders of deadlines, things like that. And this year we have an amazing, record-breaking 76 organizations registered to participate, which is super exciting. So we're very excited about the direction everything is headed in for Coastside Gives 2025. So, how Mavericks Community Foundation funds Coastside Gives. So, obviously, it does take funding to put on and promote Coastside Gives. So, sponsorships and grants. We secure sponsorships and grants to support the staff, the promotional materials, and the infrastructure required to fund Coastside Gives. So when we solicit those sponsorships and grants, those are helping pay for the cost of things like the yard signs, the banners, the radio ads, the promotional materials that we will distribute to you guys at the prize meeting to help promote the event. Registration and participation fees. We keep registration and giving guide participation fees to a minimum to maintain affordability for participating organizations. So we really do try and be very thoughtful about that sliding scale for the registration fees. We are not making money off of the giving guide. We are charging what it costs for the giving guide to be produced. We want Coastside Gives to be an attainable event for everybody in every organization. And then of course we have donor processing fees. So we do charge a 6.5% online transaction fee. That's the 3% platform fee and the 3.5% combined credit card processing fee. This is the exact same fee structure as last year. We haven't changed it, we haven't increased it. We do our very best to keep it right where it needs to be in order to keep things sustainable for Coastside Gives. We want to make sure that we are able to sustain this event going into the future. So the fee structure is exactly the same as last year. Offline donations are charged a 3% fee, so clearly no credit card fee. The amazing thing about what happens here at Coastside Gives is that 83% of the fees are covered by donors. So when folks come to coastsidegives.org and they come to donate to one of your organizations, when they are checking out, they are automatically asked, would you like to cover the transaction fee? And 83% of the donors say yes. That statistic is pretty amazing. We are in contact with other giving days throughout the state and throughout the country, and that's incredibly high. So we are very, very thankful. We have a donor base that is extraordinarily generous here, supporting Coastside Gives and all of you guys and your organizations. That fee, the percentage there, the 83%, is just amazingly high if you look at other giving days. So we're very fortunate there. And any questions or information about the fee is always available at coastsidegives.org. So again, just like this presentation is going to be on the website, all of that information is there as well. The other piece that really makes Coastside Gives possible is the generosity of our sponsors. We are super fortunate in this community to have amazing sponsors who year over year come out to support Coastside Gives, and also new sponsors who come into the fold every year. And so we do want to really make sure that we are recognizing our sponsors, because without them, we couldn't make this happen. Their generosity is really incredible. And we hope that you all will also recognize our sponsors. If you see them, if you go into their businesses, thank them for supporting Coastside Gives. They really are so important and key to making this happen. So we do want to do, a quick shout out by name, the Kirby Foundation, Mavericks Community Foundation, of course, Camp Foundation, Half Moon Bay Brewing Company, Miramar Farms, Sam's, New Leaf, Goldworks, Farmers Insurance, Palermo Partners, Half Moon Bay Building and Garden, Alifano Technologies, The Graphic Works, Republic Services, State Farm Heidi Kuiper, Cameron's, Hometown Mercantile, Nanos, Barterra Winery, Compass Visa Forward, KHMB, our local radio station, American Remodelers, the Surdy Team, Robin Kirby Properties, and Miramar Events. You may also see that as we are moving through the life of the campaign, we may add additional sponsors. So we are very grateful for all of our sponsors. These are early sponsors, which is amazing because that means they jumped on board right away saying, yep, we're in, we want to support this effort. So please, as you're moving about town, when you see these sponsors, thank them. So some examples of organizations and what they have raised throughout their years with Coastside Gives. So in this room right now, we have a representation of 76 organizations that are registered for Coastside Gives 2025. Some of you are brand new, and this is your first time participating in Coastside Gives, so we always like to give a little bit of an example of some of the organizations and what they've achieved over the years. So here are a couple of examples from 3 different budget categories. So Coastside Feral Care, who is a fairly new organization, they joined us for the first time in 2023, has raised over $17,000 with Coastside Gives. CEF, which is Cabrillo Education Foundation, has been participating since 2018 and has raised $168,000. And Coastside Hope, also participating since 2018, has raised $390,000 with Coastside Gives. So it's a span, but even in a very short amount of time, amazing things are really possible. And we think one of the reasons that happens is that when we all work together to promote Coastside Gives, it amplifies the messaging for everybody. So those are just some quick examples. And then probably the most exciting part is this is our 10-year anniversary. So we have been doing Coastside Gives here on the coast for 10 years. Every year it feels a little new and a little different and very exciting, but especially this year. It's pretty exciting to see year over year how Coastside Gives has grown within our community and to be here at year 10 with a record number of organizations participating. So for the last 5 years in a row, we've raised over $1 million each year. So last year we raised $1.6 million, which is amazing. Each year we grow a little bit more. And since it is our 10-year anniversary, and we do have a track record of raising over $1 million for the last 5 years, we've set a lofty goal for this year. Our goal for this year is $2 million. So, we don't always call out a specific goal that we are shooting for to raise with Coastside Gives, but we really want to highlight that on our 10-year anniversary and the track record we've had, that we think this is totally doable. $2 million that we can attain for local nonprofits during Coastside Gives this year. So we're excited. We hope you guys will be excited. We think it's an achievable goal. It's a goal that we're going to have to work at, but how amazing would it be to be at the wrap party celebrating $2 million?
And how much money would that mean that we made over the last 10 years for local church?
So if we hit the $2 million goal, I should say when we hit the $2 million goal, that will mean we have raised over $10 million in 10 years for this community. So, we gotta make it happen. So, we hope you guys will jump on board with that $2 million goal. We're gonna promote it, we're gonna push for it, have a team that's gonna work hard for it with our sponsorship, with our prize grants, with all those things. And yeah, we want to be able to say we've raised $10 million in 10 years for this amazing community. And every year, when we think, this is amazing, how can we get better, like how can it be more, the next year it's always more. So we're going to keep that going. And now Kurt's going to talk to you a little bit about what you need to do, how you can create a successful campaign and help get to your individual goals and our overall $2 million goal.
Yes.
Thank you, Amber. So yeah, pretty large stretch goal of $2 million, but we also didn't imagine that we'd have 76 nonprofits in this room today. So I think that it's all achievable. It just takes some work, some planning, and some execution. And so what I'd like to do is talk about what you guys need to do to make that happen. First of all, it's a journey, right? It's not just one day. It's a set of events that lead up to that giving day, but you as organizations need to start thinking about it right now in terms of planning and getting ready for that day and early giving. And it's not each individual in this room, it's not even each individual nonprofit, but it's all of us together, working together across organizations and across within your organization to make it happen. So it's not just on you, but solicit team members, sponsors, known donors, things like that to help out and really generate the buzz and figure out what the plan is going to be and execute on that plan. So first thing you need to do is, and a lot of you are returning obviously, is to go in and edit your organization information. Take a look at it, give it a refresh, some new images maybe from last year, or a new goal, or if you've got a new mission statement or a new project that you want to highlight, go in and update your information on your organization. One key element of that is updating your admin information. This is how we at Mavericks Community Foundation contact you about all the deadlines and details and meetings and things like that is through the admins. And so make sure that those are your current admins. Anyone that within your organization that you want to get notified about the events, make sure they're in there as admins. Anyone who you want to be able to upload pictures or copy or content, make sure they're in there. So the goal would be to have those updated this week so that going forward as we send out emails, it's getting to the right people and informing those folks. Next is submit the giving guide. Amber talked about the giving guide, and we'll get into more detail. There's a form. You should have received a welcome email on your registration. Within that is a link to the giving guide form. It's also available on the website, and that content is due February 18th. We gave you a little extra time there to hopefully solidify the content and get the rounds and approvals done. So, and we really tried to listen to feedback from last year, and that was one of the things, is that the giving guide content was due a little early. We're giving you a little bit more time, and it's a printed material, so we have to do a bunch of layout and things like that, so we do need some lead time, but we did give you, I think, an extra week or 10 days to get that done, so hopefully that will cut down on the revisions. Set up some advanced features, so as we get into more details, you can set up matching grants, your fundraising campaigns, things like that. And we'll get into a timeline around when you might be able to do this, I believe, on the next slide. But just think about, as you're planning your events, what sort of features you want to utilize within Mighty Cause. It's a very powerful platform. You can use as many or as little of the features as you want, and what's appropriate to your organization as well. And we'll get into that a little bit as well. Attend upcoming meetings. There's a link here. We'll get into the next meeting after this, but make sure you're attending the meetings and getting all the information that you need. Pick up the materials, so we'll have, Amber mentioned lawn signs, banners, those types of things. We'll have those on March 18th, right after the prize grant meeting, available for everyone. And then just promote, work with the team, work with your partners, figure out what you want to do, and execute on it. So how do you need to do it? So this is taken from a Giving Guide handbook that we published actually last year. It's just an outline that you can use, especially the new organizations to this, what you need to do to think about through the months as we approach the Giving Day. Obviously, January's already gone, but first thing is to sign up for Coastside Gives. So congratulations, you guys all did the first step. Attend the introduction and kickoff meeting. There you go, check number 2. We talked about refreshing your organization page. So this is an important step. And then drafting the Giving Guide content. Then as we get into February, we're looking at obviously pushing that Giving Guide content into the form and getting it to us. But as you start to do that, start thinking about what you want to do in terms of your donor outreach. And that the handbook has some ideas on how you can leverage Mighty Cause features to do that outreach for you. I think the most important step is that third step. Think about match grants. They are extremely powerful in terms of getting donors to donate more money to your organization. They will see that they can take their $1 and double it or triple it or quadruple it, however you want to set it up. So, and they will be more likely to spend on your organization because of that. Because they can say, hey, I've only got whatever, $10, $50, whatever they have, but if I donate to this organization, that actually means they get 20, 50, 100 instead, right? So I would start recruiting sponsors right now to think about how you can use your match grants. In March, finalize your plan. See what you need to execute and when you need to execute it. After the prize grant meeting, take a look and say, hey, what prize grants do we want to go after? And wrap a plan around those prize grants. And then start preparing. If you're doing letters or postcards, get those printed. Draft your emails. Get ready for social media. Whatever you need to do. So just start gearing up. And then there's actually one more bullet point I want to add here at the end of March. So get into regulations. California Assembly Bill 488 means that you can only participate in giving days and accept contributions if you are compliant with California law. That means that you have to be in good standing with the Franchise Tax Board, with the California Department of Justice, as well as the IRS. Those 3 things. So before we flip the switch on April 1 for early giving, everyone here is going to go through a check to make sure that you are in those compliance. And I know I've emailed some of you that where it was in process, or we're still writing some reports from the Department of Justice and so forth. So make sure you're on top of that so that there's no surprises on April 1st. Because if we run on March 31st a report and you're not current with all 3 of those organizations, unfortunately we're going to have to turn donations off until you get compliant. And we don't want you guys missing out on a single day, whether that's April 1st or May 1st. And we're going to have to check that through April and through May, or through the May Gives Day to make sure you remain in compliant. Because if you guys are not, then we have to disable donations. So I just want to make sure that that's in your brain. You understand what needs to happen. There's a lot of good material on our compliance page on the website that shows what you need to do, how to check it, and how you can remedy it. So please take a look at that and please be on top of that. And I will add that to this bullet point here. So I mentioned April 1st, early giving starts. And that's where you can really start to ramp up your campaigns. The spigot is open. You can start your donor outreach. So you can talk about giving on May 1st, or you can talk about giving at the moment. So send out those emails, postcards, have events. I would love to see some more events this year, especially with going off the 10-year anniversary. And just wrapping into that, we're going to have table toppers at local restaurants where, if you have an event at, say, a brewery or a distillery in an area and invite people, it can be a formal event or an informal event. Hopefully at that brewery or distillery, there'll be a table topper with Coastside Gives QR code where they can donate right there. So I'd love to see a lot of people try the in-person events. Again, it can be formal or informal. And then May 1st, Gives Day, and just promote the excitement around that. All right? So any questions about this? We're all set? Okay. So a little more information on setting up and refreshing your organization. This is Mighty Cause here. And again, this is all on the website. Mighty Cause has a library of great articles on how to use their website to market your organization and set up fundraisers and match a bunch of stuff that in there that is really solid, fertile content that will help you do this. But you can set up an image, your logos, your name. A lot of you have that already up. Some of you are new, and you'll start seeing this capabilities available. I mentioned already, update your admins, please. Submitting the giving guide. So, as Amber mentioned, every single household on the coast gets this giving guide. She also referenced it, but we also pass it out to a lot of the businesses, and many of the businesses have these available at their registers or on their coffee tables and so forth. It's hugely popular on the coast, and certainly I keep it all year round as a definitive guide to nonprofits on the coast, and I think a lot of other people do as well. It is bilingual as well. So what we want you to do is we want to obviously submit the giving guide, as I mentioned, February 18th. We've changed the giving guide a little bit this year. Again, reacting to feedback from last year, we've made it a little bit more free-formed. So it has a headline of about 40 characters, a primary section where you want to talk about your organization's its mission statement. You can add if you want to include your board members or whatever content you want to include in that. And then a third section around how the funds will be used. We think this is an important section to call out because that really then hooks, hopefully, that donor into saying, yeah, I want to use it for this, right? I want my money used for this. This is a great organization. This is a great cause. I'm going to donate here. And every page has a QR code that will link specifically to your organization. And then it also has a logo and a picture there. Amber mentioned we try to keep costs the same here. Everyone knows costs are rising. But this year we wanted to be attainable to more organizations and make sure you guys were as profitable as possible. So one thing we did was we kept the giving guide the same fee year over year. But what we need to do is reduce costs. And one of the ways we're reducing costs is we're limiting and charging for the iterations we did. We had a lot of costs last year of people coming in and iterating multiple times, frankly, their messages. And what we want you to do is we gave you that extra week to 10 days to really button it up, get it passed through, pacify your board, make sure everyone's comfortable with it, and then submit it. If you do need changes, then there will be a charge for each round of changes. But my hope is that with the extra time, and the more free-formed ability for you to create, that everything will be really solid by February 15th. And that way we can continue to keep the costs down and hopefully not incur a bunch of costs around changes. Make sense?
Yeah. Kurt.
Yeah.
Number 4, it said QR code there. Last year, I think you guys generated the QR codes.
Yeah, we do the QR codes.
Okay, so we don't have to submit.
You don't have to worry about the QR codes. And again, it's a QR code that will, if they take the picture and you tap it, it'll go right to your organization's page with the big donate button right there. Yes?
Are we responsible for the translation, or do you do that?
We do the translation. Yes?
It's confusing to me between the website donor information and the giving guide information. Will we be given a draft of the giving guide information, just kind of see what that looks like and any corrections?
Yeah, so you will get you will still get, so every year we publish a proof for you to go through with the layout. Again, any changes to that proof in terms of the content, if we mess something up where, the logo doesn't look right or something like that, obviously we'll take those changes on us. But if you guys have content changes that you need to make, those are the ones that we're going to charge for. So try to button up your content early and before you submit it.
I just don't know what goes into the guide versus the website.
Well, ideally it would be congruent, right? It would be the same message going into both. The website doesn't have a limit in terms of the amount of information you can have, so you can have a lot more information. This has to be a bit more succinct in terms of what you deliver because it's 500 characters and 250 characters. Right? So what you really want to do is take what you have on the website, really pare it down and summarize it, especially on the primary section where it's your mission statement and you're talking about your organization, and then the second section say specifically what you want to do. But the content should be, if you read the two, it should just be the giving guide should be not in addition to what you have, but reflect what you have on the website. It should just be the same message, but more succinct.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Because I was confused about this too, Barbara.
Yeah.
So just to make sure I got it.
Mhm.
The changes we make for the website is done on the website.
On the website, yes.
The things that we do for the giving guide is done through a Google form.
Correct.
And that Google form is located on the Coastside Gives website?
Yeah, embedded, it's on the website and it's available, so if you go through the timeline on the website, you'll see the Google link to the form. It should be in the welcome email for registration from Coastside Gives 2025. It's in this presentation as well, so that's a link right there that you can click, so when you open up the presentation, you should be able to click the link.
We can make edits up until the 18th, correct? If we submit.
Yeah, you would submit a new version of it and just email me that you submitted a new version of it, and then I can delete the old
The
version.
website, we could edit.
Website, you can edit all the way up through May 1st even.
Gotcha, thank you.
Logo.
Yes,
So you'll do the QR code, do we add a logo on this form?
correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
because you had asked about the logos
Yes.
in the registration.
Yeah, so this is, if you wanna do a different logo,
Right.
you know, your logo this requires a 1:1 aspect ratio. I think the website's a little different, it's a little more flexible, but we require 1:1 on this one. Okay, anything else? Oh, yeah.
If we're running a joint campaign with a fellow organization, do we submit two giving guide pieces of content?
No, it's one giving guide page that you purchased. I think let's take this offline because you guys are a unique situation, but it is just one, and so let's figure out the best way to manage that.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? And I might reference you guys later. That's it. All right, I talked about the importance of matching grants, and many of you used them last year. Those who are new or didn't use them, I highly recommend getting those sponsors. But just keep it simple. You know, if you're just starting out, you can just set up a simple match, and here's some instructions here. Again, Mighty Cause has like a bunch of content about matches, and you can get highly complicated in terms of stacking matches and multiple matches and things like that. You can use that if you want to use that, if you're comfortable using that. But you can also just keep it as a simple match. You know, if you have one sponsor, two sponsors, you can set up matches at different times as well. So you can have an early giving match, you can have matches throughout Gives Day, different hours that you set up matches, things like that. So it's a lot of flexibility, but you don't have to take advantage of all that flexibility. You just, you know, do what is best for your organization and what makes sense for your plan.
So
Yeah.
I just want to interject one thing really quick for new organizations. So Mavericks Community Foundation, we solicit sponsors, which we talked about, to sponsor the entire event, right? The whole event that Coastside Gives. We have a number of new organizations in this space today. So when we're talking about matching grants for your organization, one thing that a lot of organizations do to secure those matching grants is think about who their existing donors are and think about what donor can I go to and ask, hey, I know you're probably going to donate to us during our Coastside Gives campaign. Would you be willing to donate to us early so we could put that donation up as a match, right? So that donor says, sure, I was going to donate $1,000, I'll give it to you early, so I'll be your match donor, and then you have $1,000 match. The match can be very powerful, as you know, I'm sure you've heard, you know, on the radio, KQED, all those sorts of things, right? Donors often like to see when matches are met or when they're close to being met, especially on Gives Day, right? It creates that kind of frenzy effect. Oh, this organization I really love is so close to meeting its match. I think I'm gonna try and give an extra $20 to help them get there. So, as Kurt said, you can keep the match scenario very simple, but that is one place to start, especially for new organizations, to think about your existing donors and who you might be able to tap already within your existing donor profile to be your kind of match champion for your campaign.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, Tips for success. One is, you all are in here, hopefully as the point people for our organization. I know a couple of you are proxies, but that's okay. The idea is that there will be one person who's the owner of the information and the contact with Mavericks Community Foundation and is running it. Again, make sure you elicit help from your entire organization if you can, your board members, everyone you can get to all hands on. But it's important to have just the same people attend the same meetings, because we found in previous years if you have different people attending different meetings, things get lost in translation, unfortunately, and opportunities are lost because of that. Set a realistic campaign goal. That's important. If you go in and say, well, I'm going to raise $1 million myself. I mean, we'd love to hear that. Bring it on. But that elicits skepticism, I think, on donors that, oh, well, they're really not going to meet that. I'm going to go with someone who's closer to their goal. Something that's more realistic for your organization. You can always raise it later, right, on the Mighty Cause website. If you find that early giving is going very, very well, and you're almost to $1 million, you can raise it to $2 million, and everyone's going to be very happy. But set something that is realistic, and donors, I think, are more likely to donate to you because it's something that they think that you can achieve, and you can get that project that you want funded done because it is a realistic goal. Pick and choose the elements. We've talked about match, to lesser extent, fundraising campaigns, in-person events, postcards, emails. Pick and choose what's right for your organizations. You guys know your donors the best. What's the right way to reach out to them? And what I always say is test and learn. If there's something that might interest you, such as matches, float out a small test and see if that works for you. If it does, either redo it this year, or if it's something that's once a year, come back next year with that information. Always keep pushing the boundaries to see what you can do, but make sure it makes sense for what you're doing, what you know your organization is, and what the donors respond to. Wear your gear. I failed. I'm sorry. Left the sweatshirt at home, but we have gear. Gear is available, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Wear it around in the weeks up to it. Create that buzz. There's going to be banners. There's going to be lawn signs. As in my last year's experience, my first year, things just started to ramp up starting April 1st. People got more and more excited. I got a lot more people talk to me about Coastside Gives in May than I've ever had in my life. And, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Communicate with your donors early and often. Again, solicit match from sponsors, but make sure you're reaching out to those donors. And collaborate with other nonprofits. It's a rising tide. It rises all boats. We've got an example here of Sun Recess, who's working with Puente on a joint campaign for a mobile dental clinic, right? And so they teamed together for that particular project. There's no reason that there can't be half a dozen of those similar here. Look for other people who are doing something adjacent to what you're doing, even similar to what you're doing, such as the elementary schools. They, in the past, have all gotten together and planned their campaigns around their donor outreach. It's very important that we work together to meet the goal. And then check out the Coastside Gives Donor Outreach Handbook. It's a wealth of information on all the tools and tips that you can use within Mighty Cause and offline as well to help you plan your event. So, as I mentioned, wear the merch. We have new merchandise here with celebrating the decade of Coastside Gives. It'll be available for pickup. You can order now, pick it up on March 18th at the prize meeting. So the next session, is the tips and tricks session, February 25th in this building. Puente and CEF have agreed to panel. We're looking for one more panelist from a small organization. So what we try to do is sort of look at the small, medium, large, have a panel up here of useful tactics and experience from last year, and maybe hopefully a little insight in what they're planning this year to reach their goals. I think it's very powerful to hear from other organizations about their experience. And registration is available online right now on the timeline on coastsidegives.org. So when do you need to do it? The key dates, so update your organizational profile, hopefully this week, ASAP. The giving guide content of the line, February 18th, I'm gonna repeat all this. Again, this is all on the website under nonprofit resources timeline. Mentioned the tips and tricks, that's an optional meeting, but I think an important meeting, especially for those of you who are new to Coastside Gifts format. Mandatory prize meeting, and this is another thing, we received feedback that you would love to be able to have the prize meeting earlier so that you can then incorporate how you're going to, what prizes you're going to go after and how you're going to attain them in your planning. So we did move it back, I think a week to 10 days again earlier, it's March 18th. And then early gives opens April 1st, gives day May 1st, and then hopefully a huge wrap party for meeting our $2 million goal. Yes?
What time is the mandatory prize meeting?
I'm sorry, it's 10 a.m. All 10 a.m. in this location.
Including wrap party? Including the wrap party?
No, I'm sorry. Wrap party, location TBD. That's someplace more fun. Yes?
Can you tell me what the price is? I'm not familiar.
So every year we we create prizes and they change from year over year so that a prize might be an example of we do power hours where we'll say the most donors within an hour for a small, and we'll break it down by organizations because we understand that there's some top heavy organizations that have a lot of donors and make a lot of money. So we'll break it down to small, medium, and large, and we'll group you according to your size within each category. And so the power hours, or the most donors, or the most sponsors, or matches, or things like that. So we create different categories again. That you learn more, but it allows us to give out additional awards, monetary awards, to those organizations who meet the prizes, who meet the criteria to get the prize. Okay.
One of the reasons, though, that we do wait a little while to announce the prizes and the details is we don't want you to focus on the prizes. The prizes are great and they're bonus money and they kind of makes the gamification of this whole thing fun. But your campaign should really be your outreach and focusing on your donors now. And then the prizes are icing on the cake.
And the last bullet point here is the donations will be closed on Monday, May 5th at the end of the day. We found last year that we had the Gives Day on the Thursday, got a lot of money, but then it continued to trickle in over the weekend. People maybe were busy at work on the Gives Day and forgot about it, but they continued to donate throughout the weekend, and we got a substantial amount of money over the weekend. And then even on Monday, some of the offline donations came in. And so we want to keep it open through that Monday just to make sure we're capturing and feeding off the activity that happened on that Thursday.
So one thing I'll just add to that, Kurt, is, so the portal will be open through Monday. It's passively open, right? We advertise Give Day, we push for Giving Day and donations to come on Gives Day, but we will leave it open passively. One of the reasons, like Kurt said, people forget, right? Oh my gosh, I had Coastside Gives on my calendar and totally forgot about it, and now it's Saturday. But also it's a chance for you all as organizations. Sometimes what happens is you might have a donor who calls you late or whatever and says, hey, I forgot to donate, I still want to donate, so you can let them know it's still possible. So just so you know, internally it will be open through May 5th, but we still heavily advertise Gives Day, right? We don't advertise Coastside Gives and say, oh, donate through May 5th, right?
Yeah,
We're working for that Giving Day on May 1st.
Yeah, that's a good point. So just to reiterate in the microphone, it's just amongst us that it's going to be open through Monday, and you can tell your donors and they'll go to the website, but we're promoting the Gives Day as Thursday, May 1st, and that's going to be the deadline for the donors. Again, if someone forgets, they're able to go back, but the promotion and everything ends on that Thursday. Yes?
Yeah. Not that we're focused on prizes, but prizes end that day, right?
Correct.
Prizes
Prizes.
are Gives Day specific, correct?
Yeah.
And to be honest, you guys, it's always been this way. We just really never shared the incognito game with you, but we did realize last year that many people collected checks over the weekend, and those offline donations are really, really, really important for our data so that we know how much this campaign brings in. And so make sure that we have a chance to capture that information throughout.
And hopefully help us meet that, or exceed the $2 million.
Yes.
Yes?
What do we do with, like, can you tell me about offline donations? Like if people donate through our PayPal or
Mhm.
they go to us directly. What, do we report that? What do we do?
It's a great question.
Yeah, so there is the ability on the website to report the offline data. And again, if it's up through Thursday, that data will be included in the prize eligibility, I'll call it. So yes, that, we want to capture that data. We want to understand, you know, the entire impact of our efforts.
And so we just enter it in online.
So, one thing I would say, if you have a PayPal button on your website, right, during Coastside Give season, make that PayPal button point to your Coastside Gives button, right? So that all your donations are funneling through Coastside Gives, especially if you're looking at it for prize eligibility. So that's possible. You can direct your existing buttons or redirect your existing buttons so that it goes through Coastside Gives. That way you're capturing that information in the system and it reduces that number of offline donation entries you might need to make. Typically what we see in offline donations, right, we push for online donations. It's an online day of giving. We want as many people as possible going through the portal. But we know that there are some donors who are like, I only write checks, right? And we never want to turn away a donation. Like, no, that would be crazy. So yes, we'll take your check, of course. But as Kurt was saying, we need that offline check to be recorded in the system. It's really important so that we are capturing as much as possible a true accounting of what is being raised associated with Coastside Gives. So we can send out reminder instructions about how you enter the offline donations on your profile platform on Mighty Cause. It's very, very simple. The other good thing about entering your online or your offline donations, should you receive them, is that then that donor information is in your Mighty Cause profile. Then you also have the ability to pull out reports and see really, truly all the donors who supported you during Coastside Gives. You can see the amounts that they donated. You can click a button and issue them a donation receipt. So it's also really helpful for you all to see the full picture and then know, hey, these are the donors we need to send thank yous to, or this is exactly how much we raised. So we will do some reminders about how to enter offline donations. Mostly offline donations, we see them in the form of checks or cash. Corinne?
Well, when I understood, thank you for that, because when I understood that this is the collaborative piece, the more we raise, the more you're able to get grants to give us prizes and to sustain the, so it was like, when I clicked on that,
Yeah.
right, that was a great, I'm helping you, you're helping me, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, so it is, Corinne is absolutely right. So the data, the information that we collect through the platform, you know, we can see that last year we had over 6,000 donors for Coastside Gives. We can see that in 2024, there were $306,000 worth of matching funds that were contributed through the platform. All of those data points are really helpful to us when we are soliciting sponsors to keep Coastside Gives going, when we are soliciting grants to help keep Coastside Gives going. So yes, it is a matter of also collecting data and helping us keep Coastside Gives sustainable.
Just want to confirm that offline donations that are entered into the portal by Giving Day will be included in the prize structure.
So, that's a great question, Sandy. When we get to the prize meeting, we will clarify any of those things. As you know, year over year, the prize structure changes a little bit, and depending on what the prizes may be, some of them may include offline donations and some of them may not. So that detailed information will be shared at the prize meeting with any applicable prizes.
And I think to hit on a point you did, Amber, having that donor information in the Mighty Cause platform means that you'll have it available for next year. and be able to, again, mine that information about what everyone's donated through this event. And that, I think, is going to be extremely helpful for you to start planning for 2026 and continue year-over-year activities, because it's giving you guys a complete picture and all the information from the donor standpoint. Yeah?
Could you say a little more about what kind of receipts the donors receive?
The donors will get, the online donors will get an automated email from actually the Mighty Cause Foundation, because it's run through their platform, that shows the donation amount, the date, the organization, and all the nonprofit information to be able to do it as a tax write-off. So it's a complete receipt.
So, and that happens within, very shortly after they make a donation, it is up in their email. And if at any point in the future, a donor comes to you and says, hey, I donated to you during Coastside Gives and I can't find my donation receipt, you can go back into your profile, look up that donor, and resend them the receipt. So all of that information is retained. Also, if you are an existing organization, but maybe you're new to being the point person for the campaign this year, all of the information retained from previous years where the organization has participated in Coastside Gives, that historical data is on your platform profile in Mighty Cause. So you can see information from last year, the year before, going back as long as the organization has participated in Coastside Gives.
Does that include before the Mighty Cause platform?
It sure does. It even includes, so we used to use a platform called Neon One, and when we switched to Mighty Cause, we had all of that historical data imported, so it absolutely includes any and all historical information.
Any other questions? Yes.
So on Giving Day, I know like you have the setups at New Leaf and so forth.
Yeah.
When people give you cash and checks and you file them into our files, do we need to have a point person who can then apply those to our profile by the end of the day?
So yes, each year we have the giving table at New Leaf on Gives Day. We do accept check or cash for any organization who's participating at that table. What we have found, honestly, in the last 2 years is that very few donations are coming through that way. Most people, by and large, are now used to going through the platform. However, we'll be there, and if somebody wants to hand us cash on your behalf, we will take it. If they want to hand us a check, we will take it. Anything that's collected at New Leaf on behalf of an organization on Gives Day, we will enter into the system as an offline donation, because we will do that as we are working there during Gives Day. So that the idea is anything we collect that day, the next day at the wrap party, we want to turn around and hand it to you, right? So we will have recorded that on your behalf. However, you'll be responsible for recording any offline donation that comes in outside of that.
Are you still gonna do the thing where if somebody hasn't made a decision about who they wanna donate to, it just goes into a pool and gets distributed all around?
That's a great question. So the last couple of years, we've had something called the All for One Fund. And that is where we might direct people who would come up or say, I can't pick an organization, and we would say this pool, if you donate here, this pool gets spread equally amongst the organizations. We're not positive how we're going to handle that this year. There's a little bit of a change in the way that can be distributed, and that's part of the state legislation and the compliance pieces we're grappling with. So we will be letting you know if we are going to be doing something like the All for One Fund.
Anything else?
I just have one question about the receipts.
Yes.
Our donors, their write-off, is it for our organization or Mighty Cause or Mavericks? Who's the
donation?
You know what I mean?
It's your organization's name that's associated with it.
So the thank you that comes automatically through Mighty Cause, it needs to have our EIN number on it and all of our information.
It does. The receipt that is automatically generated after a donation is made because they are selecting your group's profile, right? The donation went to whichever group they have selected. All that information is in the platform. It's automatically generated on that receipt they receive.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are we allowed to communicate with the donors after the fact? So could we send a thank you
Yes.
from us?
Yes, absolutely.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're your donors, you own them.
Well,
Absolutely, and so
Oh, their data.
that'll come up at the tips and tricks meeting. You'll hear at the tips and tricks meeting, different organizations approach how they do thank yous differently. Some do electronically, some do, postcards, handwritten notes from their boards, that kind of thing. But yes, donors love to be thanked. Absolutely communicate with them. The donor information that's in your profile, as Kurt said, that's yours. You can pull out a distribution list from it today and send them an email and say, we're so excited, we're participating in Coastside Gives 2025. We know you supported us last year. Mark your calendar for May 1st, we're doing it again this year. You can communicate with your donors, as Kurt said, early and often, and absolutely before and after the event.
All right, so I put up this slide in terms of some resources that are available to you. Again, this deck will be on the nonprofit toolkit. There's a section in there for training materials. So this will be part of it. All these links are there as well. So just go out and start creating your plan. If you need to reach me, it's coordinator@maverickscommunityfoundation.org. I'm happy to answer any and all questions that I can answer. And even those that I can't answer, I'll give it a shot. So, again, big year this year, 10 years, $2 million to get $10 million overall. I mean, the first year, I think it was a couple $100,000 of what was raised. And if we can achieve $10 million a year, that's just amazing. So I'm looking forward to working with you all to have a successful Coastside Gives 2025. Thank you.
To do all this stuff. We're here.